What if I told you that one of New York City's 5 boroughs once tried to leave the city entirely? That it was once called the Forgotten Borough, and that beneath its quiet streets lie stories of revolution, rebellion, and reinvention that most people have never heard. This is Staten Island, and its history is far more dramatic than most imagine. Long before bridges, ferries, or suburban neighborhoods, the island was home to the Lenape people. They called it Aquehonga Manaknong, the place of bad woods. Not because it lacked value, but because it was wild. Dense forests stretched to the shoreline. Marshlands teemed with birds. The waters were rich with life. In 1609, Henry Hudson sailed into the harbor, opening the door to Dutch settlement. But unlike Manhattan, Staten Island did not thrive immediately. Early Dutch farms were attacked during violent conflicts with native tribes. Homes were abandoned. Settlers fled. For years, the island felt less like a colony and more like a battleground. When the English took control in 1664, Staten Island became part of Richmond County. Farms slowly returned and small communities formed. But the island would soon find itself at the center of a global war. In the summer of 1776, British General William Howe landed approximately 15,000 troops on Staten Island. Red-coated soldiers filled the shoreline. Tents covered open fields. Cannons faced the harbor. For months, the island served as a massive British staging ground during the American Revolution. What many people don't realize is that Staten Island had a strong Loyalist population. While much of New York leaned toward independence, many residents here supported the British Crown. Neighbors were divided. Families disagreed. Trust fractured. The revolution was not just fought on battlefields. It unfolded across kitchen tables and farm fences. After the war ended, many Loyalists fled, leaving behind property and memories. The island reshaped itself once again. By the 19th century, Staten Island became famous for something unexpected: oysters. Its surrounding waters were among the richest oyster beds in the world. Prince's Bay oysters were served in restaurants across New York. The oyster trade created wealth and gave the island a maritime identity tied to the harbor. But industrial pollution slowly poisoned those waters. By the early 1900s, the oyster industry collapsed. An entire economy disappeared almost quietly. Then came a darker chapter: quarantine. In the mid-1800s, Staten Island housed one of the nation's largest quarantine facilities near Tompkinsville. Ships arriving in New York Harbor with sick passengers were sent there. Cholera, yellow fever, smallpox. Fear spread quickly among local residents who believed disease was being brought directly to their neighborhoods. Tensions escalated until 1858, when an angry mob burned the quarantine hospital to the ground. Patients were evacuated, buildings were destroyed. The state militia intervened. It was one of the rare moments in New York history when citizens destroyed a public health institution out of fear and frustration. Even then, Staten Island struggled with identity, close to the city, yet separate from it, needed, yet neglected. But nothing would shape its modern reputation more than what happened in 1948. That year, the city opened the Fresh Kills Landfill. Over time, it became the largest landfill in the world. Mountains of garbage rose higher than the Statue of Liberty. For decades, New York City's trash was transported here daily. The smell carried across neighborhoods. Residents felt ignored, sacrificed for the rest of the city's convenience. The nickname Forgotten Borough took on new meaning. And yet history added another layer. After the attacks of September 11, 2001, debris from the World Trade Center was brought to Fresh Kills. Workers painstakingly searched through the wreckage for remains and personal belongings. A place once defined by waste became a site of mourning and dignity. Today, that same land is being transformed into Fresh Kills Park, one of the largest parks in New York City. Grass now grows where garbage once towered. Staten Island has always reinvented itself. But in 1993, something happened that shocked the entire city. In 1993, nearly two-thirds of Staten Island voters chose to secede from New York City. They wanted independence. For years, many residents believed their borough was overlooked in city planning and funding. They felt their concerns were dismissed. The landfill symbolized decades of frustration. The term "forgotten borough" was no longer a joke. It was a grievance. The local vote passed. Staten Island officially expressed its desire to leave, but under New York state law, the state legislature had to approve the separation. In Albany, lawmakers refused. Secession never became reality. Imagine that moment, an entire borough ready to walk away from the largest city in America. Staten Island stayed, but the vote revealed something deeper, a powerful need for recognition and identity. Geographically, the island sits apart. Culturally, it often feels distinct. It is not Manhattan's skyline, not Brooklyn's trend-setting neighborhoods. It borders New Jersey more closely than the other boroughs, yet it remains undeniably New York. Connection changed everything in 1964 with the opening of the Verrazzano-Narrows Bridge. Suddenly, Staten Island was directly linked to Brooklyn. Suburban neighborhoods expanded. Families moved in. The population grew rapidly. With growth came opportunity and tension. Some welcomed development. Others feared losing the island's quiet character. Throughout it all, Staten Island preserved spaces that feel untouched by the chaos of the city. The Staten Island Greenbelt protects thousands of acres of forest. Historic Richmond Town preserves colonial buildings that stand as reminders of earlier centuries. Fort Wadsworth, one of the oldest military installations in the United States, still guards the harbor's entrance. And then came September 11th. Staten Island lost more residents per capita than any other borough in the attacks. Firefighters, police officers, office workers, neighbors. Entire blocks grieve together. Memorials across the island list names that are not distant statistics, but familiar faces. Loss reshaped the community, but so did resilience. Today, Fresh Kills Park continues its transformation. The North Shore is evolving with new development and cultural investment. And the Staten Island Ferry still carries passengers across the harbor free of charge, offering one of the most breathtaking skyline views in the world. Millions experience their first glimpse of New York City from a boat departing Staten Island, overlooked yet essential. From Lenape forests to colonial conflict, from British occupation to oyster empires, from quarantine riots to landfill mountains, from secession votes to sacred memorials. Staten Island's story is not simple. It is a story of endurance, of standing at the edge of one of the most powerful cities on earth and constantly redefining what it means to belong. The next time someone dismisses Staten Island as quiet or unremarkable, remember this. Beneath its calm streets lies a history of rebellion, reinvention, struggle, and strength. Sometimes the places we overlook hold the deepest stories, and Staten Island has been telling its story all along.